spaghetti.
SDPN, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Oh, okay. Now listen, if you're going to start somebody in overtime, the guy to start is Jake McCabe. On a team with Morgan Riley, on a team with Timothy Liljegren, on a team with TJ Brody, on a team with Mark Giordano, former Norris Trophy winner.
Oh.
I like
Who had a bad night.
Who had a bad night. Fair enough.
Yeah.
You got to know which guys are going.
Yeah.
But I like Jake McCabe in a lot of different roles. Overtime with Matthews and Marner is not one of them. Although I will give Sheldon Keefe credit, he didn't start David Kampf.
Yes.
But here's the problem. You're playing the Islanders. You have to win this fucking game, okay? You got to win this game.
Well,
you got to stop. We
you don't.
got to stop excusing the Leafs for losing to the Islanders. I've had it.
No, you're right.
You got to win it for Johnny. And then
in Long Island.
On Marner.
Sorry. On. That was legit. I'm not being a dick.
You know, I loved my last vacation on Jamaica.
Well,
yeah.
Here we are on Toronto.
Yeah, I love being on Barbados.
You talked
that
about
great
this
island.
in the LFR, and when you said on Earth, that was actually correct.
Yes.
Even though you were saying like it's I'm on North America, but then you're like I'm on Earth, and I'm like yeah, that is actually
We're also in Earth though.
I mean,
are we?
You know what?
I don't know
Actually, Jesse, we just say in Earth.
We're within.
We're changing
Earth's
it now.
atmosphere. If you want to get technical,
There you go.
Yeah.
We're in Earth.
so
there you go.
So I want to say this.
On Long Island, everybody.
I want to say this.
On.
I think it's important.
Respect them.
Mitch Marner was calling for the pass. He was wide open at the blue line. Jake McCabe instead elected to try to hit a streaking Matthews from the blue line to almost the other blue line with two guys on him.
Now, maybe that's a play that they drew up.
Sure.
Like Marner.
But Marner was wide open.
He was wide
Marner.
open.
Yeah, decoy Marner, sure. But sometimes the decoy is the coy. Go after the coy.
Wide open for easy receipt of the pass.
Exactly. And we lead to an icing, which leads to a lost faceoff, which leads to a goal, which leads to the Islanders just dunking on us again for the second time this year. And I just feel like I wish the Toronto Maple Leafs management, I don't put this on the players, I wish the management, dating all the way back to Mike Babcock, took these games a little more seriously. Because they're going to boo Tavares every time he's in there. And every time he's in there, you have a chance to dunk on Islanders fans and go, screw you guys.
I don't think it was a dunking. I don't think this was a dunking. Like the Leafs struggled on special teams.
They sure did.
That's what it came down to.
They sure did.
They couldn't. The power play was awful. The one chance they had, they allowed a power play goal every single time the Islanders got a power play. And so this is the first one, like 40/10 of a second into it, and then the overtime sucked.
To Adam's point, look at Barzal's celebration.
Oh, yeah. They wanted this game.
That meant something, well, to him especially.
Oh, yeah.
He's decided he just hates John Tavares with a absolute
Even though Tavares,
eternal blood feud.
He said, Matt Barzal, this is his team now on the way out.
I think if you go back and you watch every overtime winner of every player, they are excited to score that goal.
Not true. William Nylander always celebrates by being tired.
But that's his way of showing that he's super excited.
There was one, I think it was against the Devils a few years ago, where he didn't even raise his arms. He put his stick on his knees and just breathed.
Because he's the best.
Because he's the best, and also that's what he needed to do. And also he got caught out too long. And also he scored an overtime winner with a second left.
I feel like the Leafs were very competitive at 5-on-5. They controlled the play, and the special team sucked. And at the end of the day, they got a point. They're on a 4-game point streak. It was fine. I don't think it was a dunking.
I need to.
No,
I don't know.
It's not acceptable to lose to the Islanders, and I don't know why the Leafs management. I don't put this on the players, except for their special teams play, which was garbage, and we can get to that. I don't think people understand this. You cannot lose to the Islanders. You're the Toronto Maple Leafs. You have John
You've
Tavares.
admitted that unless the Leafs go 82-0, you get upset.
Okay, fair. But it's the Islanders. You can't let them do this. You can't let them get away with this. You can't. And Islanders fans, you know what I'm talking about. You guys are loving your life this morning. And you know what? If I were you, I would love it too. It starts, this could have been put to bed the day that the Leafs played in Long Island, on Long Island, at Nassau Coliseum, the old barn. This could have been put to bed that day had Mike Babcock decided to start the actual starter, not the backup. I don't even remember who the goalie was.
Garrett Sparks.
Oh my God. You put Garrett Sparks in that arena?
Brainless.
And
just soulless.
This would have been put to bed. There were people in the parking lot lighting jerseys on fire, running them over with trucks. Like, it was crazy. You had an opportunity to end that. Babcock screwed it up, and now here we are, like 6 years later, and they're still booing him. We got it. Listen, there are certain games you circle on the calendar. Fucking circle this one, guys. Come on. Win this game. You're up 3-1. Lock it down.
You're so right about such an underrated misgiving of Babcock's time in Toronto is starting Garrett Sparks in that game.
It's as far as I'm concerned, besides the Mitch Marner list, it's the most disrespectful thing I've ever seen a pro coach do. Maybe that and the Spezza scratching in game one.
It was like,
he is such a disrespectful asshole anyway. We know that.
It was the equivalent of like showing up to a Metallica concert in like a polo shirt and chinos and being like, all right, so who's on tonight?
Yeah.
Like, you're at a Metallica concert, asshole.
Or you have tickets to Taylor Swift and you don't even really like her music.
Yeah.
Like, you dick.
Well, I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to leave early. I've heard, I played that song where she talks about jeans or whatever. Yeah, I like the jeans song. Anyway, I'm going to go. It's
something that I need the Toronto Maple Leafs and their management to take seriously every year, okay? You can't let Islanders fans do this to us, all right? This is a better team than that team. We can't do this anymore.
You do remember that this game was also played on December 11th, and John Tavares got his 1,000th career point.
And what happened?
They lost in overtime. Yeah.
Now,
so every single time,
you got to win every game against the Islanders.
So
every time, you got to win every game against the shitty Blackhawks. They couldn't do that either.
So Adam is speaking from the heart. I have a complaint from the brain.
What's that?
Why do the Leafs have one more win than losses in multi-goal Matthews games? They are 6-2-3.
They're burying Matthews' gems.
Dude, one of those games they lost, he had a hat trick. Unforgivable.
Was that the Columbus game? What game do you have had?
Buffalo? Question mark? Okay. I'm not sure. Maybe it was I don't know. Doesn't matter. They've lost 5 games this year where he's scored 2 goals or more. They began his career by losing a game where he scored 4 fucking goals. Mm-hmm. That's the brain. Because a player gives you 2 goals, you should win that game. It's like a goalie gives you a certain amount of saves. You know what I mean? You should be able to win that game. A certain save percentage or whatever. You get 2 goals from a player and you lose that game, you stink.
Well, Oilers fans can relate. Because they keep getting 2 goals from Zach Hyman and they are not allowed. Every time. Disallowed this goal, disallowed that.
Zach Hyman is going to break Gretzky's record.
Yeah. Well, the last week's just been brutal to the guy. I
feel so validated by that.
What do you mean?
Like, because I remember the Leafs needed a net front presence on the power play. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't know, we could try Hyman. That's where he scores goals. And people were like, because his save percentage was garbage. But he was like shooting percentage. His save percentage wasn't very good either. He never played again.
0. Yeah.
Wow.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible. Never
couldn't get lower.
Yeah.
And but he kept getting those opportunities and he kept missing. But then they started going in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, guys, I think this might be a really good player. I didn't think he was 50 goals good, but
he's not going to score 50 goals.
Jesse
could.
I'm putting my foot down. If Zach Hyman scores 50 goals, I will eat bread on this show.
You will eat bread? Do you not eat bread?
I will eat bread on this show.
Moldy bread.
Hot Take a Palooza. I said bread's overrated.
Oh, right.
You guys don't even remember things that happened like a week ago.
Yeah, no, you can't ask us to remember that.
Brains on these 2.
I know.
Memories.
I know. Boo. I know. Yeah. I know. I listen. I just can't have. I just can't have it. I can't have the Leafs losing to the Islanders anymore. I also want to understand. First off, they got 1 penalty or 1 power play last night, and weird that they, with Matthew Nyes as an option, with Nick Robertson as an option, they're going 2D on the second power play, 2D on the PP2. How's that sound?
First of all, off-putting. Second of all, well, they're not playing Robertson. But what? So what was the second unit? Mm-hmm. What was the second unit? It was Liljegren.
I'll pull it up.
Yeah, because I've wondered that too. Nice. They got
Giordano Liljegren.
Yeah.
Bertuzzi, Domi, Yarncroke.
Oh,
so man. No Robertson?
That feels...
He scored against it. I know San Jose is supremely shitty, but he did have a really nice... He has a great shot.
So there's only two things there that make any sense. It feels political, like you've got to play...
Giordano?
Like your third... Yeah, that's your third pair. Like, well, what are we doing here? Put Nyes net front and profit. What are you doing?
Yeah, just put him
or it's they're galaxy braining it the way they do sometimes with coaching, and Nyes is on the post power play line. Except he's not, though.
No, because it's always...
They usually put Kampf out there.
Yeah, post power play.
Nyes should be playing net front on PP2.
McCann, Gregor, Kampf, yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
By the way, Noah Gregor, going into last night, I think according to Kevin Papetti, was like just ahead of Ryan Reeves in terms of like expected goals for 5-on-5, and then he was on the ice for goal 4.
He's been low-key terrible, and then that pass to Bobby McMahon was nasty, though. That was such a good goal.
Is it okay to irrationally like Noah Gregor anyway, despite the bad stats? Like, I think he's been a little thrown off since he was put on the first line.
I think those
true.
Think those two players are different players.
Yeah.
I think if you're comparing just what those two guys can be and their ceilings, it's completely different conversations.
How about this? The next time a forward has to come out of the lineup, it should be Gregor.
As opposed to Nick Robertson.
Well, as opposed to McMahon.
Okay.
Robertson's not in there, right? So if you're trying to get Robertson in there, I think the way it's working right now is it would probably be Holmberg, just because he's the guy who replaced Robertson. But if it's not Holmberg, it's, by who was in the minors most recently, it'd be McMahon. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think he's a better player than Noah Gregor.
Holmberg?
No,
McMahon.
McMahon. Well, both, really.
Yeah.
Gregor is ridiculously fast. He's willing to stick up for his teammates. But like, you can't be, who is it who said Patrick Beverley was fooling everyone with his defense? Was it Russell Westbrook?
Yes. Yeah.
He's like, no, he's just running around out there doing stuff. Like Noah Gregor went to the Kasperi Kapanen. He went to the Kasperi Kapanen school of running around and doing stuff. I did like the setup for that play, but yeah, he hasn't been very good recently.
I don't know. I think with Gregor, you see flashes of what it can be with that speed.
100%.
And I feel like if you need you need to give him the opportunities to figure it out, right? Like Kapanen. And I feel like with Gregor, as opposed to somebody like Robertson, who needs to figure out other nuances of the game, with Gregor, if you can control the speed eventually, he'll be able to figure out and can be a lot better player than we think.
He's also deceptively young. He's got kind of like an older face. Mm-hmm. But like, I'm pretty sure Bobby McMahon is like 2 years older than him.
Really?
He might be the same age as Pontus Holmberg. He's within a year of Pontus Holmberg.
I still look at all of those guys as like building projects. Like none of those players are complete players yet.
I mean, aren't we all learning every day?
For reference, Noah Gregor is 25, Bobby McMahon is 27, Holmberg is 24, Robertson's 22. So that's kind of...
Holmberg turns 25 in like a month, I think.
Okay, so 25 there. That's kind of the group we're all shifting around and Keith's trying to figure out.
I want a coach to try things. I don't know why. I think there's been a couple defensive plays that have put Nick Robertson in the doghouse, but I still think there's a lot of talent there, and I feel like the patience with him at the NHL level hasn't been there. Because, I don't expect Nick Robertson to be perfect. If this guy tops out as a third-line guy, great. As a third-line scoring threat, great. I don't expect him to be Jason Robertson. I just think that, objectively, when you look at the talent the guy has, it's better than any of the players on that list. Other than, and Nyes is playing up high. But if we're talking about Holmberg, Robertson, Gregor, McMahon, Robertson is the most talented. So... over the course of 82 games, you think you're going to get the most positivity out of him.
Jesse, can you click on Robertson's profile there, just so we can see his salary breakdown?
Sure.
Because, he has wanted to be a Leaf, right? So we sort of talked about this the other day with Dennis Hildeby. His base salary in the NHL is $775,000. His minor salary, because he's on an entry-level deal, is $70,000. So every day he spends in the NHL, he's making 10 times what he would in the minors. So don't feel too bad for this guy when he's a healthy scratch in the NHL because he's still in the NHL. There seems to be some sort of underlying resistance here. There should be no problem with this guy at his age friggin' playing games in the American Hockey League and doing well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are you, too good? Like, I assure you, you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and this isn't a knock against the guy, but like, what if he's not in the doghouse? Like, I think the doghouse is reserved for guys who don't listen to their coach. I don't think Nick Robertson's uncoachable. I think he's got probably a harder work ethic than anyone.
Mm-hmm.
I believe in his ability to develop. I believe in his ability to play. But like, dude, he gets run over every time he's out there. He gets knocked off his feet 3, 4, 5 times a game.
So is that like a gym thing this summer? Like you gotta get the Marty St. Louis I don't legs going, or
I don't know. I don't think he's making stupid mistakes, and that's why he
did. That's what got him.
Yeah,
scratched.
but like anyone's gonna do that, right? Like, all right, let's scratch Giordano then. You know
but
what I mean?
the leash is different for somebody who's 22 and working his way into the lineup as opposed to a former Norris Trophy winner.
That's right.
You know,
and what is the byproduct of that? Like, what's the consequence? The consequence is you're a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Like, listen, if you want to go to the minors, develop your game, play a bunch, first unit power play, all that, great. We'll accommodate you right away, send you down to the minors. We'll all have a Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. If you want to stay in the NHL and learn what it's like to be an NHL player, practice in the NHL, do NHL video coaching sessions, you're going to sit.
And mention the most important thing.
The money.
There you go. And
money.
If you want this extra couple $100,000,
yeah,
you're going to have to get scratched every now and then.
You don't need to be a finance major to know that $775,000 is bigger than 70.
Yeah, and the minor league thing, we did it. We did that this start of this season. We had Nick Robertson down in the minors, and he excelled, and he was too good for it, and now he's up there. And
I don't believe that.
No, but when he was down there, that's all we talked about was like, oh, we got to call him up now.
Yeah.
We talked about that on this show for weeks because he was doing so good. And we're like, all right, that's enough minors for him. Let's bring him up. So we're going to do that again. He's going to go down. He's going to excel. And we're going to be like, all right, bring him up again. We're not going to learn our lesson.
But I also like, oh, well, we got to trade him. Like all the people saying, no, you don't.
No.
Stop it. Dubas isn't here anymore. You don't have to do right by every player. If they traded every player who asked for it, if every team did that,
be a lot more trades. It'd be nice.
There'd be a lot more. Remember when Ilya Mikheyev was like, trade me? Mm-hmm. And Dubas just simply went, no. And then he played great.
And then
he played the best hockey of his career. He asked for a trade. They didn't trade him. They said, how about you fucking play better? He played better, and now he's a multimillionaire. That's doing right by a guy. You're welcome, Ilya. Mm-hmm. I get tired about the lack of patience on both ends with Nick Robertson. This is a fine player who's going to be better.
Yeah,
I just hope he gives himself the opportunity to do it.
And if you look at, say, if you look at, for instance, Zach Hyman and his progression at his age, that guy, I mean, I remember when he broke in with the Leafs and they had him on the top line with Matthews and Nylander at the time because Marner and Matthews wanted to play together. So Mike Babcock said, absolutely not.
It was technically the third line.
I hate Joy. Yeah, that was the third line. Everybody's like, why are we putting Captain Stonehands with the best young goal scorer of his generation, right?
Yeah, and then it quickly became whatever line has Zach Hyman on it is the top line.
Yes. 100%. But I think, that first couple of years, outside of the shorthanded goals, I think he set the shorthanded goal record in his first year for the Leafs.
For rookies.
For rookies. He was amazing. He couldn't finish. There were so many goals he just swung and missed on. And he is now what, 30? 31?
I'm not sure. And he was drafted. He's older than you think.
I am not saying that Nick Robertson is going to become Zach Hyman. All I'm saying is that players do develop later. players do develop later. Zach Hyman is 31 right now. Okay.
No way.
Okay. So when he started with the Leafs, like full time in 16-17, which is the first year with Matthews, Marner, and Nylander, he had 10 goals. Then the next year he had 15. Then the next 21. Then 21. And then back to 15. And then Oilers, now he's playing with McDavid, 27, 36. And right now he has 26 goals in 37 games.
And to just put it in perspective, if I'm not mistaken, Hyman's rookie season with the Leafs, not the one where he had a cup of coffee with the bad logo.
Yeah. That's the 16. Yeah, that's 16,
the next
17.
year with Matthews.
16, 17.
I'm pretty sure he was the same age, maybe a year younger than Pontus Holmberg is now.
And Pontus Holmberg's going to be 25.
You know?
So this can happen. And I look at Zach Hyman.
What I'm saying is guys take a while to figure it out, man.
Can I also point you in the direction of another Canadian ice hockey player? That name, former Leaf, Carter Verhaeghe. A guy who the Leafs traded Carter Verhaeghe like 5 years before he regularly got into the lineup with Tampa.
And so did the Islanders.
Yeah, that's right. Because
they traded him to the Islanders. He never played a game.
He played 2 years with the Crunch before the Lightning even gave him a shot. And his first full year with the Islanders, he had 52 games, 9 goals. Then the next year...
He did play with the Islanders?
Or sorry, not the Islanders, the Lightning. Oh. Then he goes to Florida and it's like 18 goals in 43 games. Whoa, 24. 42!
I know.
And he's got, in 41 games this year, 22 goals. My point is, it's got some time. I don't know what Nick Robertson tops out at. Maybe they do include him in a trade at the trade deadline. But I do feel like maybe adjust the expectations on this kid. He wasn't a top 5 draft pick. We don't need to be that hard on... It's not like Juraj Slafkovsky where there's a ton of pressure on this guy.
Yeah, the bar is different.
Here's a guy that's what does Nick Robertson have right now? Like, and I'm just pulling up his stats here.
They're not terrible.
They're
not bad.
12 points in 25 games.
This is like half a point a game.
Is that a third liner to you?
He has 12 points in 25 games.
6 and 6.
That's more than I thought. He has 6 goals.
Yeah.
That's not bad, man.
Not bad at all. It's not bad at all. So anyway,
and he uses both hands when he gets his points.
3 of those goals have come in his last 5 games.
I really, listen, you can trade anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If you trade him, make it make sense. Don't do it to get him into a better situation. The better situation is here. It's here.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's also low cost.
Well, I was going to say, like, is that such a bad thing?
We've been talking about the Leafs needing guys to graduate and be low cost and augment, especially next year where it's going to be a tight year.
Yes. Hey, Nick, stick around. We're probably going to need you next year. There's a solid chance where instead of filling in with Matthews and Marner in practice, you're just straight up on that line.
Yeah. If you can figure out whatever's pissing Keefe off, you don't have to wear gray jersey anymore next year.
I don't get the impression Keefe's very subtle.
No, I think he tells you.
Right. I also don't think it's like upsetting him or pissing him off or anything. I think Sheldon Keefe's job is to win games. That night, I am going to ice the best lineup that I think wins me a game tonight. And every day, that is the process. So I think it's just a matter of you haven't earned the trust in that, hey, tonight, if you're on the ice, we're going to win this game.
Yeah. And like we just had the conversation about Gregor. So then you go Kampf, McMahon, Robertson. Who cares? You know what I mean? Like
Nick Robertson's role can't be a 4th line player, I don't think. Like I think you're losing what you're hoping to have in him if you're just running him out on the 4th line. But I don't know how we spent 15 minutes on Nick Robertson.
You'd be surprised, man. Like I get asked about him every time I ask for LFR questions.
Yeah.
People are really excited for this player. I get asked about him. I get asked about Hildeby. Mm-hmm. People always want to talk about the core 4. Obviously, who do you want in a trade? Mm-hmm. But in terms of guys who are already here, it's Robertson. He's one of the most fascinating guys in the organization.
And in terms of his contract, like are they running out of runway there with that?
How many years?
Let me just see.
Is this it?
He's an RFA at the end of this season, so he has to ink something new.
Running out of runway with what?
So
he's an RFA. They control the show.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if he wants to go somewhere else, it's going to be a really nasty process to get there. Like when an RFA wants out and they have leverage, like a Dubois, it's difficult enough. When they don't, which he doesn't, you don't have much choice other than to sign with the team you're with. The best he can do is sign short term.
The qualifying offer is $813,000, so like that's nothing.
Yeah, and it's not like they're not going to qualify him.
They're gonna probably bypass that and sign some sort of deal, I assume, right?
I hope so. I mean,
what does that look like to you guys?
It depends how the rest of the season goes. Like if I'm Nick Robertson, I have no interest in signing that extension right now because I'm not even an everyday player right now. There might arise a situation where I'm in the lineup every night. I'm playing power play. I'm, playing in the top 6 because of an injury or something. And all of a sudden I'm lighting it up. So right now it's like you could sign him to like 900,000 times 3 or something like that. But he ends the season, he somehow gets to 20 goals because he got in a good situation and got red hot. Well, all of a sudden now I'm asking for a number that's 7 digits.
Also,
2 million times 3 or something like
if
that.
If he happens to be some guy that gets hot in the playoffs, a lot of guys make a lot of money in those 7 or 8 games that they play.
Adam, if you're Nick Robertson's agent, you've spent a lot of time around an agent. What's your advice and what number are you looking for this summer?
Well, first off,
Steve Dangle Podcast is a kangaroo court.
I don't think, first off, I'm his agent. The Leafs are for sure not calling about that extension right now.
No.
On the priority list of things the Leafs are worried about right now, a 22-year-old RFA with 6 goals it's just not up there. Okay. When they do call me in August, because that's what it'll be. I will take a look at.
I think it'll be sooner.
You think so?
Yeah.
I will take a look at what he did in the late season and in the playoffs. Like, first off, he's got to be in the lineup every day. Second, he has a fantastic defensive forward in Calle Yarncrook to babysit him. He's got an incredible playmaker in Max Domi, incredibly underrated. Listen, Max Domi's defense is questionable at the best of times.
It's bad.
But his passing is unbelievable.
Yes.
And so there's a theory there that, wow, you have a great passing guy, great defensive and can score some goals guy, and guy with great shot who's got lots of potential. Man,
a fun line.
Seems like a fun line.
Yeah.
If they can put that together, if they can really make that happen, yeah, I think the max, listen, Connor Timmins on this team made $1.1 million. I don't think that he should make $1.1 million.
He's their
but
8th
yeah,
right now.
that was a bad Dubas signing, and I don't hate Connor Timmins. It's just he's not worth that. I think if they come to you right now and they go, we'll give you a couple years or 3 years at $900,000, you take that deal so you can develop within the lineup, and it makes you a highly tradable asset. Because remember, the Leafs are stacked offensively, and if you're looking at it from Nick Robertson's perspective, he might be thinking, man, if I didn't have all of these amazing top 5 player of all, or top 25 players of all time in scoring in front of me, right? The top 4 of those top 6 players at the Leafs at any one time are top 25 all time in scoring for the Toronto Maple Leafs. That's bonkers. Doesn't give them a lot of opportunity to move up in the lineup. And so I would be like, okay, I want a tradable deal. You don't want to end up in a contract situation like Philip Zadina where you're, and I think Robertson is in a better trajectory than Zadina is, but where Zadina had to terminate his deal so that he could get an NHL job. Right?
Well, dude, get in the lineup. Get in the lineup and work from there. And sometimes guys take cheap deals to get in the lineup.
Yeah.
Look at Joseph Woll. There's a chance Joseph Woll wouldn't even be on this team, but he signed a wicked deal because he made a discovery. He went to Finance 101, discovered 700 and something thousand is bigger than 70. And, I see the Leaf practices and their amenities, and, I like flying the plane more than I like the bus. And you know what? I'm good enough. So I'm going to put myself in a position to get in the lineup with my cap hit and my ability. And my ability in the lineup is what's going to get me millions. Do we all think Joseph Woll is going to stay a less than $800,000 goaltender next contract? Not a friggin' chance.
No.
Not a chance. You know a guy who was pissed off about his contract situation, and he didn't take any bonuses, and he did it so he could get in the lineup, and woe is me a little bit. Sandin. And I'm just looking, and I still love Rasmus Sandin. Like, he's on pace for career bests for points anyway. 12 penalty minutes in 36 games, no goals, 11 assists, -8.
On a better Caps team than we thought.
And he had lots of opportunity earlier in the season when there were injuries. You have to get in the lineup. That's step one.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to earn your stay there.
Yes.
You have to earn your stay there. Simone Benoit. That dude was not an every night player.
Mm-hmm.
He's there now. He's like irreplaceable. He's out there in the final minute to close it out. It's crazy. But you got to get in the fucking lineup.
I would like to ask a question.
Just one thing on the
sorry.
Sandin, unfortunately, he's been out the last couple games for the Caps, and they just placed him on injured reserve because Oshie came back. And
really?
They had to move Sandin to injured reserve.
Wow, Steve, why did you try to bury him?
So
horrible guy, Steve Dangle. Why don't you get up and walk it off there, Rasmus?
Sheldon Keefe texted me and he told me to say.
Okay,
but he's I think he's day to day, but he's on IR with upper body injury.
Now I don't want to start. I don't want to start a disingenuous dialogue, but I would like to start a dialogue because that is the trend.
All right, Charles.
I would like to start a dialogue. Hoops on the Islanders has played 39 games this year, 5 goals, 9 assists.
Is it the giraffe?
That'd be Pierre Engvall. So Pierre Engvall has 2 more points than Nick Robertson. He has played almost 14 more games specifically. He is a 0.
He has fewer goals.
Fewer goals. Now, he does different things. I get it. He's defensively responsible.
He's on a 7-year deal.
And he's making $3 million. So how do you feel about Nick Robertson making $900,000 on your third line? Don't feel so bad about it. Don't need to trade him. Don't think so.
Nope.
Because that's what that costs once you get to that age. And I understand that Pierre Engvall, I know there's a lot of Pierre Engvall fans in Leafs Nation. All of them like numbers because anybody else that doesn't understand the numbers does not like Pierre Engvall. I can almost put that in there. And it's not because Pierre, the guy, isn't great or doesn't have a body that's carved from absolute marble.
It's
crazy how in shape that man is. It's ridiculous.
Silly.
It's that this stuff to replace this is it's more expensive than you think.
Yeah. And like, what other prospects you got? Like, what other draft picks you got? Like,
yeah,
everyone. I want Leaf fans to stop trading him.
Oh, they're doing well. I think what Leaf fans are looking for. By the way, Pierre Engvall is also a winger, not a center, making $3 million. I think what Leaf fans are trying to do is, and I get this, is like look at the assets on the team. I think the fact that Nick Robertson's name is included in it is that he's a player that probably should be playing most days. And has some high-end attributes. That shot is unbelievable. I think CJ was saying it's the second best shot on the team besides Matthews.
Dude,
that's high praise.
That bullet past Blackwood,
crazy,
was mean.
So anyway, yeah, I know we've done entirely too much on Nick Robertson, but I'm a fan, and I want to give him a break. Now,
it was Nick Robertson by name, but there are a lot of situations around the NHL where the exact same argument can be applied.
Sure, absolutely. Now, Jesse.
Yeah.
I sent you something, and you got to freeze frame it, and it is on the SDPN. It's on our SDPN group chat. Okay? And it's this shot from last night. I'm not sure how much hockey you were able to watch last night. A lot of people on Twitter bragging about the out-of-market games that they've been watching, and I'm going to be one of them because I have been following this team for nigh on a week, and... like closely, because I watched them on Saturday and I was like texting their group going, are you guys seeing this? This team is really bad. Jesse, when you're ready.
Oh, yeah, it's there.
Maddie, bring it up. That is the owner, president, I think president and GM.
Yeah.
And then I think the AGM of the Ottawa Senators, Michael Andlauer, Steve Staios, and I'm sorry, I don't know his name.
Is that Bonus?
Oh, it might be Bonus. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were to watch that video in full, and thank you, Jack Richardson, for posting it on Twitter. It is from a TSN feed, just so it's credited properly. Those guys were pretty upset last night, and they should be. The Ottawa Senators, and we had Jason York on just 2 days ago, talking about how rough this team is to watch. Senators fans, like, I feel for you because it's not even an entertaining product. It's not like, hey, sometimes we're good, sometimes we're bad, but it's always fun. It's not fun.
You know what, man? That is a good sign, though.
That someone's angry about it and not making excuses?
Yes. How many situations, like, look at Columbus.
Yep.
A big part of the problem that they had this summer was born from their owner kind of being MIA.
Yeah.
Not really being involved. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't want an owner who micromanages, and, we've criticized for that in the past. Francesco Aquilini and everything, who currently owns one of the best teams in the NHL. But if you were ever curious about whether or not the Sens were just going to leave it, that, oh yeah, you know what? We'll write this season off and we'll get them next time. That is not the face of an owner or front office that is interested in putting up with this a day longer. I would not be shocked to see the Senators be one of the more active teams over the next couple months.
What's interesting is, Jason York talked about on the show last episode that it was time, like Jesse asked the question, it was a great question about, is it time to trade from the core? And he said yes. Now, Friedge has come out and said they're not ready to do that yet. I'm curious as to what they think they're going to get in this one or two players who takes care of themselves.
Sorry, can you ask the question again? I was smiling at the dynamic between Kipper and Friedge.
What do you mean?
Well, because Kipper is very bombastic, and he's like, they need to do this. And then Friedge has to go, all right, well, I haven't heard that.
That's why it works.
It's nice that I love their dynamic together. It's very strange, but I love it.
So the thing is, like, my question was the 200-foot player.
Yes.
What's this 200-foot player that probably eats well, like takes care of themselves? What is this one person going to bring? By the way, I'll tell you, Nick Foligno, in the time that we started the show, just signed an extension with the Chicago Blackhawks.
No way.
2 years, $4.5 per.
He got a raise.
Yeah.
Wow, they must love him.
They also know they're not going to be good for a while.
He's 36, 37.
He's almost 40.
Right?
He's not a kid. He there's a clip. Do you remember when Dion Phaneuf absolutely blew up Stefan DaCosta on the Senators? The first Senator to go after Phaneuf was Nick Foligno.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, he's been in the league a long time. Wow. So that threw me off a bit. I mean, well, it could be attached to the conversation a little bit.
Sorry, $4.5 million. I did say that? Or
yes.
Yeah, because he's making $4. It is $4.5.
Yeah, so he got a raise.
Yeah.
Nick Foligno is someone who the Chicago Blackhawks obviously love having around. Mm-hmm. When they say someone who takes care of themselves, I don't think these guys are slobs, ketchup and mustard stains all over their shirt. I don't think that's what they mean. I don't think they mean they're unkempt. What that sounds like to me, I'm not accusing anyone in particular, I'm just saying what it sounds like, is high maintenance guys who you just have to put too much damn effort in. Like, you listen to execs talk about the players they love. Like, I don't remember the name, but I remember a conversation behind the scenes at Sportsnet one time, and Brian Burke was asked about a certain player that he had on the Ducks, and the first thing out of his mouth wasn't, he was tough, he took care of the puck, he was a coach's dream, he scored big goals, he was a playoff performer. First thing he said, zero maintenance. Generally, your boss doesn't actually want to have to think about you. Yeah. They would like to give you the money, you do a good job, they go, thank you for doing a good job, go home.
Yeah.
That's what they want. They want guys who show up to the rink, listen to what the coach has to say, they have a good practice, they go do whatever they need to do for the rest of the day, they have their nap. I don't know. It doesn't matter to the team what you do for the rest of the day. When you are at the rink for practice, when you are at the rink for a game, we don't want to have to worry about you. if you need something from us, like, the medical care or whatever, maintenance, massage, whatever. Yeah, the team can take care of you with that. But are you taxing? Are you tiring? That's what that sounds like from the Sens, guys who take care of themselves.
So
they're pro athletes. I'm quite confident they're in good shape.
So if that's the case, like, who has any right to be a squeaky wheel on this team besides Brady Tkachuk?
Well, I think you've found the crux of the problem, Adam.
Yeah.
It's pissing them off.
One thing I worry about the Sens is that, like, the reason we're all kind of really high on the Sens this offseason and why the fan base was so high on them is that they have a lot of young talent that looks to be very good one day. And I worry that a lot of the young talent was given too much too early. Like, Tim Stützle is 21, has that $8.35 million contract.
The second greatest contract ever signed, next to Jake Sanderson's contract.
As a
first greatest contract ever signed.
As a Tim Stützle fantasy owner, he is not having a good season.
No, and Jake Sanderson, who's 21, and you look at the big pieces that they're relying on for the team, and they're so young. And then you bring in the veterans like Giroux and Tarasenko, who've been performing well. Like I said, Giroux wasn't. What did I say the other day? He wasn't playing that well, and then he's gone on to score 2 goals, and everyone's been like, Giroux's been great. So egg on my face for that. So, like, everybody around the young guys has been great. Yeah. And I worry that there's not enough patience there with the young guys, and that they've thrusted them into the position saying, we're ready to compete. But they're all like, we just got here. How do we compete in this league? And they just need more maturing and more growing.
The point Jason York made last show about all their centers are too young was so interesting to me, because you look around the league, like, take the Boston Bruins, for example. I did not think they were going to be this good. They're not going to reach 65 games. They lost Krejci and Bergeron. That's huge. But the guys who are next man upping, the guys who are replacing them this season,
Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle.
Well, they're guys who got to play with those guys. Are the Sens getting that same experience? I mean, the closest thing they have is Claude Giroux, who played center for a long time, but he's relegated to the wing
winger now. Yeah.
Yeah, like he did play center in this league. Who do you got? Who do you got up the middle? Who's your oldest center?
I thought that point was so fascinating. Yeah, because you look at the numbers, like if you run it down, Stützle's 21, Pinto's 23, really Grigg, who is like the greatest Sens story this season. Like, he's been phenomenal, but he's a child. He's 21. He's still on an $800,000 deal, and they've relied on him to control that third line. He's been awesome, but he's so young. Joshua Norris is 24. That's
the elder statesman.
Where have they been learning from? Like, how did they get this experience in the NHL besides trying to do it themselves? Yeah. And it's so evident on the ice when you watch the team lack play driving up the middle. They get from their back end. I think Sanderson and Chabot, and Chikrin, they're able to do things from there, but just the offense just struggles.
Who's the decor learning from? That really young decor they have. Who are they?
Travis Hamonic, the old guy there.
Like, dude, that's 33. It. That's it?
The guy they just had to have.
That's it?
Yeah.
Like, I guaranteed what the Sens do next. Because, like, other than getting rid of, like, the hired guns, like Kubalik and Tarasenko, selling is not going to do much for this team.
They need to just learn. I feel like it's almost there, but they're just not there.
They need hockey trades. They need, like, none of this buy selling. Hockey trade, I think, would do them a lot of good. And, like, you're not in the business of losing anymore. Like, I know you're maybe focused on, tanking for Celebrini or anything. I think it might actually do them some good to have a really good back half here. Which is that shouldn't be a stance. You know what? I think they should try to win. That shouldn't even be a stance.
But you're saying that, like, unlike, with last year with Bedard and everybody tanking for him, and there was a race to the bottom. You're saying that the Ottawa Senators, if there is a race to the bottom for Celebrini, should not be a part of it.
Yeah, well, I also
should try not to be anyway.
I also don't think they're bad enough to really put themselves with San Jose
No.
and Anaheim.
But
and,
you know that doesn't matter, right? Because even San Jose, if they come last, have a 20% shot.
well, that's the thing. There's a lottery, right? So that whole thing about there no teams tank, that's obviously a lie.
Like Ottawa is a bottom 3 team.
Yeah.
It's the Sharks, it's the Hawks, it's the Sens.
Yeah, but
Ducks-
it's not going to end that
The
way.
Ducks are ahead of them.
It will not end that way. Not a chance.
Okay, the Ducks are ahead of them because they've played 4 more games, though.
You know who low-key did, I think, a better job than we give him credit for, and that's something Ottawa could learn from, is Steve Yzerman in Detroit. Because he was in a similar position with a bunch of young guys. And
Yep.
then what did he do in the offseason? He brought in, or in the couple seasons he's been there, brings in guys like Shane Gostisbehere and Ben Sherratt and JT Compher and just guys who have been in the NHL to teach the other guys how to play in the league.
And not all of them are great contracts.
No.
They're not great
You
contracts.
can't say it's been spectacular.
No.
Like even Justin Hall, like I don't think that's been awesome.
He's a part of the rotation, guys.
But you have David Perron, you know? You have guys who can show the other guys how to be an NHLer. And Ottawa never really did that.
No. I mean,
And it's worked out for Detroit in some respects.
and also the guys like Giroux, I think, really wants to be there.
Well, he's from Ottawa.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
they
like,
tried Tarasenko and Giroux, and
Tarasenko's a gun.
yeah.
Yeah, he's only there for his next
a
deal.
year.
Well, I think he's going to get traded.
He has a no trade clause?
Yeah, so he can decide where he goes.
Yeah.
People,
look
I
at
always
this-
love when people bring that up. Like, can we stop, by the way? I don't know how many times we're going to say this throughout a year. Have you never seen a no trade clause waived before, people? Oh, they can't trade him. Yes, they can. They can easily trade him.
No, he loves the byword market.
Yeah, he needs to stay in Ottawa.
Yeah.
No, he's
Likes
going to
getting
get
on the
traded.
canal.
He just wants to decide
loves
where.
it. Loves. Oh yeah, you know what hockey players love to do in their off days? Skate
On the canal, yeah.
outdoor. Yeah.
Goes Carlton, hangs out with the kids, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I got to ask, has Vlad Tarasenko been good enough for a big trade that Ottawa's hoping to get some return on? Because, yeah, he's got 26 points in 35 games, but is anybody like, wow, Tarasenko's coming to be a real leader, or wow, he's lit it up, or
Someone's gonna want him.
I think they're going to want him, but I think he needs a good couple of months here.
I don't think that return is going to be like, we're not going to be blown away by the Tarasenko
I don't think so.
return. You know?
No, I agree with you. Because at the trade deadline, you look at what teams value. It's not the highly offensive middle 6 guys with no defensive talent. It's right shot defensemen,
Yep.
gritty defensemen, right?
Centers.
It's always and centers.
Yeah.
It'd be great for the Sens to, in those trades, not just get picks and also get a roster player. Even if it's someone at the bottom of your roster. Like, I'm not a big, they need guys who have been there, type of old fogey.
Yeah.
But yeah, they really are just a team of kids. They're a team of kids, and they have like a few vets, and only one of them's really truly bought in. It's true. You traded the 7th overall pick last year for a guy who was never bought in with Alex DeBrincat. Like, that's why I don't think they can get rid of Drew. I think the Sens need guys who have been there and also want to be here.
Yep.
In Ottawa, playing for the Sens. Someone's got to plant their flag and say this is a great place to play. All evidence shows it's terrible right now. I don't think Ottawa's a bad city.
No, it's a great city. And
I don't think they have a bad future either.
And I think they've got a good fan base. I think everything's there. It's just, you got to start winning. Everybody wanted to be there when they were winning.
Yep.
Everybody.
And I think if you just look at the teams that have won recently, you'd never say, oh, yeah, that's a young team. Tampa, not a young team. Vegas, not a young team. Florida, not a young team. These young teams, like, if they're looking to be Stanley Cup contenders right now, like, they're not there yet.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like them to contend for the playoffs first.
Right.
And they are going to, I think, Yorkie made a good point. He's like, they're very young up the middle. Shane Pinto, by the way, is on the ice right now. So he is back and should be back. I think he's eligible Jan 23rd, if my dates are right. So this will be the sort of, 2-week lead up to him getting better.
Well, and, the guy's joining the NHL in late January. Like,
That's tough.
That's going to be really hard.
I have a stats question for you guys.
Okay. I have a jumbled, probably wrong answer.
How many teams are in the NHL?
32. Fucking nailed it.
Okay.
Beat you.
Where's this going?
Okay. How many of those teams have allowed less than 100 goals this year? We are 41 games in for most teams. 41. So this is about the halfway point.
So if you're like 3 a game, it should be the majority. So I assume it's going to be an awfully low number.
It's going to be an awfully low number.
Yeah.
I'm going to say 0.
0 teams.
Well,
Zero
I don't
teams.
think you'd bring it up if it was 0.
I do.
You'd be awful.
How many teams have let in 0 goals this year, guys?
Correct. Moving on.
That's not a good way to.
0.
It is
To
more.
figure out
It's a
this
number
trivia.
that's more than 0, but it's low. So we are narrowing it
1.
down. Jesse, go ahead.
Let's go with 3.
You're both. It's in the middle of what you both said.
2.
2.
What is that?
Now,
2?
I
Nailed it.
I got
said
one
2.
100%. I'm pretty confident in this. Winnipeg.
Winnipeg Jets, they have allowed the least goals in the NHL. And the reason also that's more impressive is that the number 2 team has played 3 less games than them.
Number 2 team.
Sharks. Sorry.
Is it the Canucks?
Yeah, I think
It is not the Canucks.
No, I know. Let's see. Who's had some great goaltending this season? I don't think it's Boston. I don't think it's Vegas.
I do think it's Vegas.
It is not Vegas.
Shit.
No. Boston?
Nope.
Okay.
Do you want to
No one, because the answer is 0.
Who is it?
Los Angeles.
Ah,
Should've known that.
I told you.
should've fucked
Listen,
with
when they have the kind of depth that PLD can play the 4th line center,
Yeah.
you know, that's depth.
They had the best goaltending for the first 2 months of the season.
Yeah, they're incredible. I just want to say
But
that the Winnipeg Jets are so unbelievably impressive. They have here's what's crazy. So they've played 4 more games than the LA Kings. They've allowed 2 less goals in even despite that. The differential that they have compared to just about anybody else except for the Vancouver Canucks is crazy as well. They have a 44 goal differential, 139 goals for, 95 against. Connor Hellebuck, I know nobody's talking about the Vezina Trophy this year. I think he should win it every year. He's my favorite goalie in the league and has been for 5 years. This guy, and I know there's other goalies on the team, but he's played 30 of the games.
Rob Brossois has been awesome.
Yep.
He has.
He's a good goalie, man.
But Connor Hellebuck's, even if you want to split the Vezina between the two of them, I'm fine with that.
That's
because didn't Jim the net detective Carey and somebody else do that?
Sure did.
This guy, 923 save percentage. He's played 1,800 minutes already. 30 games that it started already. He's 21-6.
Yeah, the conversation probably starts with him.
Like that's and listen, I'm thrilled for Gabe Vilardi. I'm thrilled for Scheifele's different play. It's like a whole different ball game in Winnipeg. The team culture seems to be so much better. But Connor Hellebuck at $7.5 million. And by the way, if you're negotiating with a goaltender this summer, you say to them,
10 the goal.
You say to them,
sorry.
I'm sorry, Bobrovsky's contract doesn't count. I'm sorry, Carey Price's contract doesn't count.
Connor.
We're measuring you against Connor Hellebuck. He makes $7.5 million. He was going to be a UFA. What do you think what do you deserve based on that?
Well, and he's going to have to be even better because Monkey Wrench got thrown into the situation last night. Mark Scheifele is hurt.
Oh.
Not good.
How bad hurt?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean,
I haven't seen any reports.
producer
on
Nick messaged the group chat when Matthew Nyes got hurt, and he's like, well, now Nyes is out for the rest of the year. And he
was back.
Did not miss a shift.
He got a bruise. Yeah. I just want to do a little shout out to our boy Connor Hellebuck because that's pretty sweet.
Can I throw out a goalie that nobody is talking about at all?
Throw him out in the trash.
Steve's already looked at my screen.
Do it.
Because there's been a lot of disrespect on the west coast of the NHL. This guy has been the most underrated best goalie in the entire
Hunter
National League.
Ingram.
Thatch Daddy? Thatcher Demko?
Oh, God, no.
Oh.
I'm talking about Mr. Joey Decord.
Oh.
Seattle Kraken fan, I am here
Yes.
for you. Joey Decord, what did you say Connor Hellebuck's save percentage is?
923.
925! Peeks out Mr. Hellebuck, who you've been giving so much praise.
He's also played 300 more minutes than Joey Decord.
No, they're like not far off in games played.
I know, but 300 more minutes?
Joey Decord's got 26 games played. He's 12-5, a 2.2 .623 GAA, and like I mentioned, the .925 save percentage. There's something in the water in Seattle and them making great goaltenders. They're the way they play defense there. It's a great system, and Joey Decord has been playing in it fabulously and having a great start to the season.
You know what's wild about
shout out him as well. But yeah, Hellebuck's definitely leading the way for the Vezina.
What's wild about Seattle is last year their goaltending stats were fucking garbage. Like just terrible goaltending stats. And yet they get into the playoffs and you're like, wow, this team's really good defensively. What is that? It was such a weird, like they made it to the second round. They were a pretty strong looking team. They had a shitty start this year.
Yeah.
Decord's been great. But like, doesn't it feel, it felt weird last year, don't you think? Like Jones had bad save percentage. Who else? There was
No one was making saves.
No.
Drieger, I think it was.
Drieger and the other
Grubauer.
guy. And Grubauer. All of them were bad.
Or it might not have been Drieger. It was Grubauer. Here's a sentence
Go.
from Wikipedia as it popped up. On March 14th, 2021, Decord was forced to start a game against the Toronto Maple Leafs after Matt Murray suffered an injury. He was with the Sens at the time.
Wow.
During warmups. He went on to make 33 saves in a 4-3 win for his first NHL victory.
Wow.
Joey Decord's first damn win was against the Leafs in the Canadian bubble season.
Joey Decord, a 7th round draft pick, 199th overall by the Ottawa Senators.
If the Ottawa Senators simply held on to the goaltenders they drafted, would they have to sign outrageous deals with every goaltender that's mid?
Yes.
You see, Philip Forsberg left the game last night. He was injured on trying to make a save. That was just fucking
Anton, right? Anton.
Oh, sorry, Philip.
not
Anton
Philip.
Forsberg.
Philip Forsberg, another guy with a terrible save percentage. 0.
It's at the bottom. It can't get worse.
I'm just saying.
And so things are getting just worse in Ottawa.
Like think about all the guys that the Ottawa Senators have drafted that have turned into relatively good goaltenders in the NHL.
They
level.
are
They
a
don't have to
goaltender
spend,
factory.
You don't have to spend $8 million on goaltending every year. Ottawa, just keep the guy. Simply keep the guy.
I want to play a game.
Okay, what's the game?
We're going to play played for the Sens, didn't play for the Sens.
Oh, there's been a lot of turnover.
There's been a lot of turnover.
Okay, all right.
Robin Lehner.
Played for the Sens.
Played for the Sens. Joey Decord.
Played for the Sens.
Played for the Sens. Ben Bishop.
Oh, played well for the Sens.
Played for the Sens.
He was very good with the Sens.
The guys who have gone through that organization, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I mean, Cam Talbot was there. Cam Talbot was
played for the Sens.
Cam Talbot was good at. Who was the guy that went to Columbus? Wasn't there a goalie that went to Columbus and was good, and he was a former Senator? Am I wrong on that?
Pascal Leclerc?
No, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like there's
Played for the Sens. I don't actually know if he did. That's a tough one. They all become the second coming of Dominic Hasek, who also played for the Sens.
Yes.
Who leads the Ottawa Senators in all-time games played?
All-time games played?
As a goalie, sir.
Oh, as a goalie.
Yes.
Damian Rhodes.
Ron Tugnut.
4th. Steve,
Patrick Lalime.
2nd. Steve, what's your guess?
Craig Anderson.
Oh!
Number 1 by a country mile, 435 games played.
By the way, if they had just hung on to him, like he was okay. I know he's retired now, but he was great. Or he's okay in Buffalo last year.
Where's Lalime?
He is 2nd. Yeah.
Nuts.
I did say him.
Yes, Adam did
missed
say
it.
him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was
all right.
too busy thinking I can't
That's okay.
focus on two things at once.
You know what, Steve? It's
keep
okay.
meaning to get done.
Don't you worry about it. Don't you worry about it. Yeah, Craig
Mike
Anderson.
Brodeur, also a legend of Sens goaltending. 7 games played. Curtis McElhaney, 7 games
When
played
did
for the,
that happen?
for the Ottawa Senators.
I don't remember that at all.
That is a thing that happened. Mad Sogard, if you remember that.
Oh, yeah.
20
Wow.
games played.
Wow.
Trying to go over it. It's Philip Gustafson, 27. Cameron Talbot.
There's another guy. Played for the Sens.
Philip Gustafson, yeah.
Good goalie.
There's a decent goalie you could have hung on to. The Hamburglar, as we all know. Alex Auld.
He's big. He's bald. He's Alex Auld. You don't remember him? Or you don't remember that chance?
I remember that. I remember it. I'm just laughing at it.
Canucks fans did
Yeah.
that one.
Here's
He's
the
big,
thing.
he's bald, he's Alex Hall.
And what did he do, Steve?
He played for the Sens!
Okay,
Played
so
for the Sens.
I know the Senators had to trade Craig Anderson or get rid of or let him go or whatever, but he was not bad last year in Buffalo. He was not bad the year before on a terrible Buffalo team. He only played 4 games the previous year with the Caps. And he was not bad in his last year in Ottawa. Just simply hang on to your man. Stand by your man.
I don't know this for sure. I do not. Mm-hmm. But because of how many teams have desperately needed goaltending this year, I bet at least one NHL team called up Craig Anderson and said, "How retired are you?"
Oh, I wouldn't be shocked by that.
Not at all. Not in the least.
Speaking of, I want to ask you guys about this. Corey Perry has had a conversation with Gary Bettman. Friedman said, and we kind of speculated about this too, that if it was any other organization other than the Chicago Blackhawks, whatever the incident was, because the Blackhawks have no room to maneuver. They have lost all benefit of the doubt. They were pulling nasty shit in court again the other day. Yeah. And the NHL is going to try their best to rebuild that franchise. The Chicago Blackhawks don't have room to move there is no gray area. There is no benefit of the doubt. They terminate Corey Perry's contract. There are some rumors that he could potentially, and I don't know that he will. There are rumors that maybe that could be challenged.
Yep.
But what we do know is that Corey Perry is eligible to play in the NHL. There are teams that are very interested in him. Carlo Koliakovo said yesterday on Twitter that there was mutual interest between the Leafs and Corey Perry. We know that there was interest from the Leafs perspective, dating back not just to this summer, but the summer of 2019.
Oh, with Wayne Simmons.
So I forgot about the Leafs had the opportunity to sign. It was Corey Perry or Wayne Simmons. And you're probably asking, why didn't they simply sign them both? Because they didn't have the room. They made a choice. They went with Wayne.
Simmons was straight up the better player at the time.
He was.
I'll die on that hill.
Absolutely.
No, Perry's career looked like it was over. Mm-hmm. It was over.
And Simmons was great for the Leafs until he broke his wrist.
Yes. No, Corey Perry's career has been on absolute zombie mode.
Yeah.
It just won't go away.
So I keep thinking that a great fit for him would be the Florida Panthers because they are a bunch of Corey Perrys anyway.
It's the fit.
It is the fit.
It's the fit.
He's probably going to be back in the next month, I would think. That's what I get. That's my guess. I have no proof of that.
Do you feel like the fans of whatever team he signs with deserve to know what happened?
No. And I'll tell you why. Not because you don't deserve to know, but because legal papers have been signed, NDAs have been signed. There was a legal process with this, and so you're not going to find out. Do you deserve to? In a perfect world, yes, but you'll never know. You will never know what happened there, and it's not because. Sorry, so I should have answered that question.
Yeah,
Jesse. Yes, they should absolutely effing know what happened, but you never will know. How's that?
Wow, I've never seen an answer form a circle.
I know. Sometimes sometimes my brain doesn't work that well. I'm sorry.
That's why you talk it out with your friends.
So yeah, no, you for sure should know. You're not going to know. That's the way. I'm not asking. I'm not diving into how legal reform needs to be reformed. I'm not getting into that.
You generally don't get $1.5 million worth of contract ripped up for doing something good.
What's I think is going to keep this story rumbling. Mm-hmm. As even if he signs with a team and then he starts playing all that stuff, is that the NHLPA might appeal the termination.
Yes.
And then once that happens, they have to go into a whole proceeding about, hey, he wants his money back and all that
but
stuff.
He can still play and sign in that time.
Yes. Yes. It's just about getting the money back. It's like the Evander Kane situation, So that'll keep the story of Corey Perry in the news, which I think will be very interesting to follow for the next couple of weeks. They have until, I forget the exact date, but somewhere in the end of January to file the appeal. So it's coming up the date where they have to issue it.
I have a question, just from a formatics perspective. The Leafs are weaker on the left side, right?
Yes.
Their right wing is pretty strong. Nylander, Marner, it's a pretty good lead, and then you've got Yarncroke.
Yes.
Okay. And then you've got whoever's the right side on the fourth line. Doesn't matter. Corey obviously would slot in probably on the fourth line.
Yep.
But you know that he's going to be a guy that they're going to want to mix into more shifts than your average fourth liner, especially come playoffs. Is there a chance?
Yep.
Is there a possibility that if he were to play with the Leafs, that you go, I know you shoot right and I know you play right. I mean, you're a winger. So you'd be on the left.
I'm sure he could do it.
If Roman Polak
Yeah.
can play his offside, I feel like Corey Perry can figure it out.
I feel I think what they would do is they'd throw Yarncroke on the left.
Because he can switch.
Yeah, because he's pretty good.
Okay, now does that make their left side, are you more confident in their left side if Yarncroke's on that side? Are you feeling better about that?
Of course. He's been where he's been because it's made sense. I mean, if they wanted to, like that Domi, Robertson, Yarncroke line, Robertson and Yarncroke can both switch. So it's easier for wingers to switch.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
It's of the positions in the game, it's the least important position.
I would
goaltending.
I think
center,
Corey Perry would be a better
defense,
left
wing.
winger than Noah Gregor.
Sure. I just don't think that you're signing Corey Perry to play him 8 minutes a night. I think you're signing him to play 12. And I think that's a different
Which
line.
is a big difference.
Huge
It sounds like it doesn't sound like it, but it's a huge difference.
Huge difference. And I think he's the third line guy. And I also think it prevents, if the Leafs go and sign him, for instance, they then don't have to make the trade that they were going to make. It doesn't cost them anything other than money. They're up against the cap. I don't know what the LTIR space is.
We also heard that there's a little bit of poo-poo thrown on the Carly Koliakovo rumor, you know?
Well, we do know he can play. A very
Yeah, but like going to the Leafs in particular,
Okay.
like we heard that it probably isn't likely. So,
It's just they don't have any space.
yeah.
Like I feel like they'd almost prefer a trade because then you could send someone out as well.
And they also
Timmins has to happen. That has to happen.
Yeah. The other one I wonder about is Kiefer Bellows down in the Marlies ripping it up and playing left wing. I believe that guy is.
I think they're looking at it. Nick Barden got confirmation that. So he signed a tryout contract with the Marlies. It's 25 games. I didn't know tryouts were 25 games. I also didn't know that after your tryout contract is up, you can just sign another one. So why would you do that? Why would you not? Who's the guy? Why is that? He's a basketball
Brian
reporter.
Windhorst.
Ryan Windhorst. Why is that?
Yeah.
He's the top scorer on the Marlies on a tryout deal, and he's
Here, Maddie,
potentially
fix it,
just
fix it.
going to do another tryout. Why is that? Is it perhaps he's not looking to sign an American League deal, and he would rather
Here, one
sign?
second. There you go. There you go.
Kiefer Bellows played 25 games without a contract. Why is that? I think there might be something there. That's all I'm going to say. The episode has to be called "Why Is That?" Maybe not. I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, keep doing that. Now we got something here. Tilt your head back. There you go. Yeah, there we go.
Still got to be looking at the camera.
Yeah, you got to look at the camera, though.
Your mouth has got to be sort of open, like you could.
There you go.
There you go.
No, hold it.
That's really good, man.
Dance, monkey.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not here for your entertainment.
Yes, you are. That is.
Oh wait,
literally-
shit! That's the express purpose of the show.
That is why
Yeah.
we're here for our entertainment.
Yeah.
Why is that? It's one of my. Every time I see it, it's always a chuckle on the timeline.
It is a very funny meme. Yeah, so the Corey Perry thing is interesting. The other thing that I think is really interesting is the ownership of the Vancouver Canucks. I permanently will find the ownership, management, and fan relationship, the three of them together. Canucks fans are thrilled. And they should be. They deserve this. This team was always too talented to play as shitty as it was. And now they're seeing some really, really great results. What I found hilarious going into the year, and it was overshadowed by Steven Stamkos walking into camp and going, the GM didn't call me about the extension this summer and I'm pissed about it, was the back and forth, very passive aggressive between Elias Pettersson and the Vancouver Canucks. And Pettersson, the Pettersson camp leaked out to the media, if you remember. Well, he's not sure that he wants to be here. He wants to wait and see. That was the wait and see. Why is that?
Why is that?
Wait and see. Okay. Then the Vancouver Canucks leak out to the press, the other side. They go, yeah, well, we're not even sure we want to sign him.
How did they say it?
We're not even sure we want to sign him.
And now he's about to find out what it's like to get a multi-million-dollar gun.
100%. Now, Pettersson, a lot of people are looking at the Nylander deal and going, I mean, we know he's an RFA, but what leverage could the Canucks possibly have? And here's the interesting part, too, is when they said that, they were saying that about a player who did something that Nylander's never done, scored 100 points in a year last year on a not good team.
At the high end, you don't have the leverage. The team doesn't have the leverage.
Yes.
Generally speaking, and we talked about this earlier with Nick Robertson, who's like a fringe lineup guy, RFAs in that situation do not have leverage. Elias Pettersson is one of the top players in the National Hockey League. He has all the leverage.
He's on pace for 110 points.
That's pretty good.
And isn't it interesting that one of the top headlines on sportsnet.ca today is, we want to keep Petey here, says Canucks GM Alvin. Wow, no kidding.
No kidding.
Shocking.
Oh boy. Wow, none of us saw it coming.
No.
I just want to ask.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Ask away.
Little fingies.
What possible reason would they think that they're going to win that publicity war? When you say, you make the statement, why did they make such a statement? Like, nah, we're not even sure that we want him here in Vancouver. Like, what would the lotto line
Jeff
be?
Blair here?
No, yeah, I know I sound a little. It just smore me, you know.
Yeah, but the Canucks are in a no-win situation because you have to give him whatever he wants, right?
I think having that player on your team and paying them whatever you want, that is a win situation. That's the guy you give everything.
Yes. Your win is that you get Pettersson. Yeah.
What a
So I
privilege
guess that is the win.
to be able to say, I'm going to pay this guy $12 million a year.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think it's going to be, RFA or not.
I mean, how jacked were Pettersson and Reinhart and everyone around them when Nylander signed his deal?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And they should be. They should be.
I mean, okay, Nylander is on pace for more points than Pettersson. Pettersson has already scored over 100 points in his career, like you mentioned, and can play in the middle.
Mm-hmm. That's the key. He's a centerman.
Reinhart to a lesser extent.
What are 100-point centermen worth in this league? Oh, let me have.
They're really cheap.
Oh, it's crazy. Nathan McKinnon. How much money does he make?
Nothing. Dick.
$12.6 million. What does Connor McDavid make on a contract that he signed 4 years ago?
Oh, a lot longer than 4 years ago.
What's he make? 12 and a half. That's right.
12 and a half.
And Austin Matthews next year, what's he going to make? And he hasn't even scored 100 points yet.
In my dreams, league min.
Yeah, but in all honesty, he's going to be 13 and a half.
13 and a quarter. How dare you?
Sorry, and a quarter.
So I think it seems fairly simple. If Willie is 11.5 and McKinnon is 12.5, Pettersson should be 12 or 12.2.
Yeah, because they have the RFA thing. Yeah. However,
so give him 12 over 8.
Right, because he's going to, but
he won't want that.
Here's the question. Yes. If you're Pettersson, do you sign, he's got the injury history. Do you sign the full 8-year deal, or do you go the Matthews route where you go 3 to 4?
Yeah, there's no way. There's no way. If I'm his agent, I would take an 8-year deal. Like, I want something that's like 4.
Now,
4 years.
Let's consider the following, and I understand that these players are not the same. Bill Nye considered the following: these players are not in the same level as Pettersson. Let's go back to the Leafs' Cody Franzen. The Leafs offered Cody Franzen a 5-year, $25 million deal.
Okay.
He turned it down.
Yep.
He ended up in Buffalo. He played 3 more years, and that was the end of Cody Franzen in the NHL. There was John Klingberg, who was offered $50 million by the Dallas Stars. When he was close to Norris Trophy winning, he was amazing. When he was at his best, he was amazing. People forget that. Mm-hmm. The fall of John Klingberg is what we tend to focus on, but he was great, and that's why the fall was so astonishing. John Klingberg turned down that money, and he had an injury history when he didn't sign that contract. Pettersson has been healthy the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. But if somebody says, hey, man, here's $100 million. Do you have do you not like physically have a physical reaction to going, nah, I'll take half of it. Thanks.
I think the way you started that statement is how you should end it, like how you did before. It's coming to full circle. Elias Pettersson isn't those players. Like Elias Pettersson isn't Cody Franzen or John Klingberg. He'll be fine. He should take the 4-5-year deal and then get the next $200 million contract. You know?
And he has been healthy the last 2 years. Yeah. Completely healthy. 80
Nothing
games and
wrong
80
with
games, and he's played 42 already this year. He's healthy.
Yeah.
Can I checked it out on Puckpedia? Elias Pettersson's agent is Pat Brisson.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can I read you some of the friggin' contracts this guy has?
Yeah, go.
The top one is Nathan McKinnon. Total value $100.8 million. John Tavares. Total value $77 million. Anze Kopitar. Total value $80 million. Seth Jones. Total value $76 million. Sidney Crosby. $104.4 million. This isn't necessarily current contracts. I think that's career earnings. Dylan Larkin, Pierre-Luc Dubois, Jack Hughes, Cole Caulfield, Quinn Hughes, Jason Robertson. Then you get to Elias Pettersson in terms of highest paid guys. Cam Fowler, Claude Giroux, who's made $1 billion in his career. Trevor Zegras, Anthony Mantha. This guy has the craziest lineup of any agent in hockey. So anyway, good luck with that. I'm sure it'll be a really easy negotiation and they'll take less, like all those other guys on that list.
Mm-hmm. Another guy who's easy to negotiate with is Alan Walsh.
Yes.
Super easy. Mm-hmm. Doesn't advocate for his players at all. They have Philip Roenick to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man!
And here's the thing: the Canucks, like a lot of teams, are pressed against the cap. Now they haven't signed the big extensions like the Leafs have. So Vancouver has currently an $86 million payroll. There's obviously LTIR space used, but next year doesn't get a lot easier. You got. Roenick's a RFA. Myers is coming off the books and that sort of thing, but you got some work to do. You got work.
Mm-hmm. They have Brisson has 4 Canucks. The captain, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, trying to find the other 2 on the list. Dude, that is one of the most ridiculous stables I've ever seen. Guillaume Brisebois and Christian Wolanin is the other.
I shudder to think what Quinn Hughes' next deal looks like. At $7.8 million, that's one of the best value contracts in the NHL.
Dude, a lot of guys...
For 3 more years after this one.
A lot of defensemen in his age group signed their contract too early. Cale Makar at $9 million is one of the... Even though he's one of the highest paid players in the league, it's probably one of the biggest bargains. He's He's a perennial Norris candidate. He should be making Carlson money.
You could argue the 3 best defensemen in the National Hockey League did kind of the same thing, and
Fox.
That's where I'm going. They took too little money.
Sorry.
Oh, that guy that Jesse really likes on that team? He really likes. Name him.
So the
Definitely beat him to the punch.
The problem with the voices in my head is I then say the things that they say.
Cale Makar, Quinn Hughes, and Adam Fox. They've all signed long-term deals under
Adam Fox
under double digits, and arguably all of those guys to this day, right now, could be $10 million plus players, and unfortunately for them, like the cap's only going to get higher, and those deals are only going to get better for the teams.
What's Makar signed at $9 million flat?
I believe it's 9 flat.
Okay, so Fox signed the best deal of them because he got the 9.5, but that was coming off the Norris Trophy year.
Yeah,
you imagine if a Leaf won a Norris Trophy and then had to sign a contract, we'd be paying $16 million a year.
Easily
on an RFA.
Easily.
The Subban situation where it's like you got to prove yourself, and then he wins the Norris.
Proves himself immediately.
Like,
so I kind of proved myself,
and then Bergeron's like, I don't think so, man.
What?
Well, because he won the Norris and then immediately went back into contract negotiations and said, "You're gonna hit me. My number is gonna be 9."
You meant Bergevin.
Bergevin. Excuse me, Bergevin.
Yes,
Different.
Like, what does that have to do with Patrice?
And Patrice Bergeron said, "No, fuck you, PK."
I was like,
no,
I get he's from Quebec.
He probably did. Yeah, he probably said that. But but Bergevin was like, the $9 million, we're still not going to do it. And then the owner had to step in and be like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And then immediately when that contract's going to be like guaranteed for a long time because you're going to stick around, we're going to trade you.
Yeah. Worked out for both.
Yeah. I'd say.
It ended up in 2 Stanley Cup Finals appearances. Nashville got one. Montreal got one. Can't complain about that.
Yep.
Right?
Anyway, yeah, I bet Pettersson hangs around for less.
I think so too. I think so too.
Discount.
He'll $5 million.
Jeez, please don't say that. So listen, yesterday was the toughest day in our company's history, and I think that we should address it as much as we can. And I'll tell you what I can tell you. Obviously, there's things that we can't talk about, but when we started expanding, and we expanded pretty rapidly, we did so under an economic structure that made sense at the time, that has since changed. And it changed very rapidly. And I'm sure everybody's aware of the cuts, not only in media, but actually across all industries right now. And I think that anytime people make these cuts, there's anger and there's outbursts and whatever. I do want to say that when we went through this, every single person we were on a call with didn't deserve the phone call. We wouldn't do this if we didn't have a choice. And I also want to say that every single person that we hired, we believed in and still do. And I think,
apparently that's a corny thing to say.
well, I don't care. We hired them because we thought they were great.
I yesterday offered an endorsement of S, who did excellent basketball coverage for us, and people gave me shit for it. I've been laid off a number of times, and I was just trying to do what I wish previous employers had done for me, and apparently that's corny and uncool.
Well,
so, sorry about
listen, I'm not here to decide what's corny and what's not cool, but I will tell you this, and I think we all would agree on this. We want those people, all of them, to be successful. So I would encourage you to follow them. I'd encourage you to, if they're writing things, read them. If they're watching, if they're doing streams, watch them. There are some real, genuinely amazing stars in the making there. And the whole point of something like, for instance, Game Over, was to bring that out in people that hadn't had a shot. And so, as we told them, and I'll tell you now, we are extraordinarily disappointed and sorry that we can't continue it, but we can't. And that is the economic reality of what we're facing. This is going to be a very, very hard year economically, not just for our company, but I think for a lot of people. And we want to say that we have nothing but respect and amazing things to say about those people, and we wish them extraordinarily good things in the future because they all deserve it. They did amazing work while they were here, and I thought, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that. And so, our goal now as a company is to continue on, and to, the thing about being a startup is there's peaks and valleys, and we are just as challenged as any startup would be right now. And I hope that things turn around for not just us, but for everybody. There's a lot of people that I know that are, especially in this industry, there's a huge transition taking place from traditional to non-traditional. And I could go on for hours about it. It's a very, very challenging time. So wanted to say that we wish them all the best.
And just publicly thank them for their time and for the incredible content that they put on the Game Over and the Objective Basketball Podcast with S and Lauren, and S is all of his individual work. Just the entire Game Over team and the basketball programming. Just thank you for creating that amazing content. Just want to say that publicly. We did it privately, obviously, but publicly, I think the fans of those programs too, if you supported that, thank you for supporting it, and hopefully they continue some work somewhere in the future.
Yep. Absolutely. So we'll leave it at that. And you know what? We'll wrap up this episode. We're going to be back on Monday. Don't forget the CJ show out and explaining all the... I haven't had a chance to listen this morning, honestly. It's
fantastic.
Yeah, is it?
Good stuff, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll listen on the way home.
CJ show.
Sorry, I was
brand
a little
new
busy.
CJ show.
Yeah.
So we'll... did you have anything you wanted to add?
I'm just sorry. I wish it could have gone differently, very badly, and it will go differently, but yesterday sucked.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up there. I'm sorry to leave on a note like that, but it was a very rough day for a lot of people yesterday who didn't deserve it. So Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back Monday, and we'll talk to you soon.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.